We're good? Okay. All right. Ready? I would like to call to order the December meeting of the Mount Hood Community College Board of Education. I declare a quorum for tonight's regular session with the following directors present: Diane Noriega, Annette Matson,
Here.
Will Miller,
Here.
Larry Morgan, Mohammed Aljari,
Here.
and Andrew Spear. I am here. Shatoya is absent. May I have a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by
Second.
Diane and seconded by Will. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is 2.0 public input. For persons wishing to provide public comments who are attending in person, please sign up by completing the sign-in sheets with your name of the organization or groups represented, if any, and a statement noting the agenda item or topic to be addressed to the board. The sign-in sheets are located at the table at the entrance to the meeting. For persons wishing to provide public comments via Zoom, we ask that you sign up by using the raise hand feature in Zoom. It's available at the bottom of your screen. When you are called to provide comments, please clearly state your full name of the organization or group represented, if any, and the agenda item or topic you wish to address to the board for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per person. As a reminder, the board will hear comments or objective criticism of college operations and programs, but comments about individuals or college personnel should be directed to the board chair or president outside of this meeting. We will now hear public comment at this time. Roxanne, are there any folks signed up for public comment? Would the first two like to join us, and then we'll rotate the next in? Go ahead and please, for the folks online, please take a seat and then turn on the mic. And then either Doug or and then introduce yourself.
Yeah, you have to. This? Oh, the light went on. Very good. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and start because I'm the director of the funeral service program here at the college. And some guests that are also from the industry have come with me today. And so the information we're bringing today is related to our program accreditation. I've been a full-time instructor here since 1998, so longer than most of you have been alive. And in those years, I've been a full-time instructor. I was part of a 2-person program, but the director left in 2004. So since that time, I've been the only full-time instructor, and there have been part-time staff. And so things were going great. And then come to 2024, our accrediting body, which is the American Board of Funeral Service Education, they created a new standard that we need 2 full-time faculty. And so that's the core of what we're going to be presenting to you today. So when that standard was created, and it has to be met by January of 2027. So we're given a few years to have a second full-time faculty member in place as a service instructor. So there'll be 2 full-time instructors as the requirement. So we're here just to give some to give that information, and then to let some members of the industry talk about how they feel that if we didn't comply with this accreditation standard, that the industry would be harmed because we wouldn't be graduating students from an accredited program. If you don't graduate from an accredited program, you cannot practice in the state of Oregon. You can't be a licensed embalmer. And so most funeral homes, most staff members in most funeral homes in Oregon are dually licensed. So they're an embalmer and a funeral director. So our program enables our graduates to become dual licensed professionals. And if we lost accreditation, the embalmer part of that Well, the full accreditation would be removed, and then there's a possibility we could offer a funeral directing only program, but we couldn't have the dual license programs. We couldn't have a full accredited program. And so we've been fully accredited since 1970. So this program is one of the longest running programs on campus. So we're faced with this requirement and working on that, and the dean and the president and the administration is aware of this, and so we're just trying to make this happen. So I'll let the members of the industry go ahead and take turns giving their input about this.
Thank you. And please introduce yourself, and you can start. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Serena Trexler. I am a licensed funeral director and embalmer. I am a Mount Hood graduate of the Mortuary Science program back in 2023, and I have been serving on the board since I was a student. I have also founded and manage the only natural organic reduction facility, also known as human composting, here in Oregon. And I would not have been able to achieve this service without this program. It is extremely important to me to let you all know how important this program is and meeting those requirements of accreditation. Like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't critical to the future of the funeral industry and Oregonians. That is mostly what I came here to say, and just pledge of how important it is to continue to fund a program in a time where we are about to meet the highest retirement rates. And also after 2020, you all may have been impacted by this program just by simply being here. So I want to thank you for your time and listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Then next to Roxanne.
Yes. JC Aubrey.
And when you're ready, go ahead and please introduce yourself and begin.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having us today. My name is JC Aubrey, and I work for Clearstone Memorial Partners, and I'll talk a little bit more about myself during my time. Good evening. My name is JC Aubrey. I'm here tonight to give my full support to the Funeral Service Education Program, and so strongly encourage Mount Hood Community College to continue supporting it as well. I currently serve as the chair of the advisory committee for the Funeral Service Education Program, and a role I've been honored to hold for nearly 20 years. I have worked in the funeral industry here in Oregon for over 22 years, and even had the privilege to teach here at Mount Hood Community College for 2 years. I presently work for Clearstone Memorial Partners as their vice president, where I manage 17 funeral homes and 7 cemeteries across the state, from Ashland all the way to Gresham. Also serve as the treasurer of the Cemetery Association of Oregon. My entire professional life has been dedicated to serve families, supporting the communities, and strengthening the standards and future of our profession. I want to share with the executive board today just how vital this program is, not only to our industry, but to our community, our workforce, and to companies like ours that rely on well-trained, compassionate, and capable professionals. Right now, we have open positions. We're expanding our footprint. We're growing to meet the needs of Oregon communities. And today we have interns, apprentices, staff members that are actively attending this program. They depend on it. Our company depends on it, and truly our company depends on it. The Funeral Service Education Program is not just an academic offering, it's a pipeline of essential service workers. It prepares people for a career that requires technical skills, emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity, and a deep commitment to serving others at some of the most difficult times of their lives. If the program were going to disappear, Oregon will lose more than a degree option. We'll lose the future of the funeral directors and embalmers. We'll lose qualified professionals who understand our state's communities. And we will lose the ability to sustain the very services that our families relies on. We need this program. We need the support to ensure that it remains a viable option for the next generation of funeral service professionals. Thank you for your time, and thank you for considering the last impact of this program on Oregon families, businesses, and communities.
Thank you so much. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello,
for us. Thank
my
you.
name is Jessica Darling. I'm a 2020 graduate of the FSC program myself. I gained my skills in the program that allow me to run a funeral business here in Portland that employs several of your students. I'm a member of the Oregon Funeral Directors Association. I'm a board member, and today I'm bringing the executive director's support of the program. So I'm going to read that now. You can envision me as a 6'4" man with silver pepper hair and a bellowy voice. My name is Wally Orderman, and I'm the executive director of the Oregon Funeral Directors Association and a 1984 graduate of the Mount Hood Community College Funeral Service Education Program. I'd like to address some matters that have me concerned for the program. In conversations with the accreditation body, which certifies the FSE program, the American Board of Funeral Service Education have been very firm that they are not flexible with their rule to mandate 2 full-time teaching positions for the FSE programs beginning January 2027. There is no workaround. They will pull the credentials of any institution that does not comply. They have also told us that Mount Hood is the only institution that hasn't complied or is actively in the process of complying. If the FSE program abandons the embalming curriculum and becomes a funeral directing only program, it will die. Oregon and several other states only require a 2-year degree to obtain an Oregon funeral director license, and that can be in any discipline. There would be no motivation for students to move to Gresham from Maryland or West Virginia, as there currently are, or any community of the Oregon or Northwest states where they can obtain their associate's degree closer to home. There's nothing Mount Hood Community College could offer in a specialized funeral director curriculum that these students couldn't get through a robust apprenticeship at a funeral home. By producing embalmers through the program at Mount Hood Community College, the college fills a need that employers are clamoring for, which I would suggest is exactly what the mission of a community college should be. I am not an expert in college funding or program retention in the Oregon college system, but my longevity in the industry as a funeral home owner provides me with a unique perspective that knows that the business ramifications of a program like Mount Hood shutting down would be devastating to the death care industry to not have this feeder program bring new minds and new talents to Oregon funeral homes and communities. There is a need for skilled embalmers in this state. Embalmers are still very relevant, even with cremation, alkaline hydrolysis, and natural organic reduction being chosen for disposition. Oregon law and administrative rules require an embalmer to perform the vast majority of these tasks, preparing decedents for their final goodbyes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Was there one more, Roxanne?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Please please introduce yourself and go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. My name is Dustin Bassett. I'm a full-time faculty in the CIS and cybersecurity program here at Mount Hood Community College. One of the things I want to talk about tonight is our CIS program, and one of the major things that we are doing in our realm of CIS, which is computer information systems, if you're not familiar with it. The CIS program was recently recognized on programs.com as one of the top 10 associate programs in the whole nation. This was not a recognition that we chose to jump in and put our vote in to say how good we are, but they came to us and told us how good we were as a program. One of the big things that we do in the CIS program, which is really interesting, is that we have a number of different certificates that we offer through our program. Essentially, which I like to call them as off-ramps for students to get a certificate in a professional career and then kind of move into a transition to a path to a different segment essentially within their career. And some of them leading ones that we are offering are CompTIA certifications, if you're familiar with CompTIA, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and also our BAS program is now offering a CISA Plus certification, which is one of the bigger ones. It's actually ranked one of the top 10 certifications in the country. One of the other things that's really interesting I want to talk about too for our program and how important we have the BAS program is that the BAS program essentially is a feeder, more or less, for our sister colleges, our other community colleges, Lane Community College, Central Oregon Community College, PCC. We have students that are coming in from different programs across the state, coming into our now second year of our BAS program, and are going to be graduating for the first time at the community college with a BAS in cybersecurity. So a groundbreaking degree with students that are going into the field and making changes for our community and our habitat in the whole Northwest region. Yeah, that's pretty much a couple things I want to talk about. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you so
I
much.
don't want the buzzer to go off on me.
I
Sleep all night. Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. That's cool to hear the update. Thank you. Because three of us on the board were here for the infancy of those approval of the BAS, so it's neat to see it coming to life. Thank you for those that provided public comment. Really appreciate your comments. And with that, public comment is now closed. Next, we'll move to item 3.0, reports and correspondence. Lisa, do you have any correspondence to share? Thank you. And tonight we have a special guest. As you know, I have the honor of being the OCCA board president this year. And with that comes the pleasure of getting to work with Abby Lee, our executive director. And Abby is joining us tonight to give a little bit of a background update and report out of the association and also just take questions from everyone. So I'll turn over to Abby.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. You're one of the last college boards that I've had a chance to visit. Not for lack of trying, but you are very busy. You were involved in a number of things last year. And so as Lisa and Andrew and I would talk about schedules, and I'm like, you have a lot on your board agenda. How about I come another month? And so this is the month, and I'm excited to be here. As Andrew said, I'm Abby Lee. I'm the executive director of the Oregon Community College Association. And second to President Scari, I have the best job in the state. I am really privileged to be the executive director. And just by way of introduction, I worked at Treasure Valley Community College in beautiful Ontario, Oregon for 25 years prior to this position. I also have a PhD in public policy from Boise State University, and I studied community college boards. And so my dissertation question was, what is the motivation for running for office? Why would someone want to serve on a community college board? And that was really informed by my own experience, having worked as an administrator for 20 plus years. Like, why do people do that? And so as I come out and visit with boards, I always want to ask you to think about your why. And we won't spend time today going through that, but I'm always curious, really from an academic standpoint and also from a practitioner standpoint, what motivated you to run for this board? And most importantly, why do you stay on the board? And many times when I ask this question, it's because of the mission of the community college, it's student success. But just a quick question, one of the other, academic dissertation questions I asked was, were you recruited or did you self-select onto the board? So I was studying, are these ambitious candidates or are they more public service? And so think about that. Did someone ask you to run for the board? Or were you sitting around and you saw an opening and you're like, that's the thing? How many of you were asked to run for the board or maybe encouraged to run for the board? Yeah, kind of both. And then how many of you just were like, I have an opening, I think this is what I want to do? I got to run. Okay. Right. So I also in my former life was an elected official, and that was my motivation for running. It's like, I need to make a difference here. So I also, in addition to studying, as I said, I was an elected official. And so I have a real heart and appreciation for what it means to put your name out there on a ballot and to serve your community and to be accountable and responsible for that. So thank you for letting me introduce myself. Roxanne, do you have the PowerPoint? I have slides. I hear that you're a board who loves slides. I might have made that up myself, but I'm here with slides. I wanted to just give you an update of what we as an association focused on last year, and then a little bit of a preview. I think John Wyckoff's going to come in a couple of months and give you a more up-to-date preview of the legislative session. But this is really kind of our state of the association for our member colleges and what we did. So a couple of slides next. We can skip the next one, Roxanne. So again, what is the OCCA? We were founded in 1962 when many of our community colleges started. And it really is a way to make sure that we are representing the collective interest of 17 community colleges. So I like to show this map as you see the kind of distribution of our community colleges around the state. 17 locally elected boards, 17 colleges that have their own flair and flavor throughout the state. And we hold really dearly to that ethos that local control is really important. And then we try to coalesce around priorities statewide that we can all agree on while understanding that each college might have other things that they're working on. So next slide. Oh, it's okay. Well, we're just, so just, we have a mission statement as you do, we have a vision statement, but our mission statement is very important. As you know, as a college, your mission statement is very important, and that's a lens that we look through to make sure that we are serving our member colleges and leading with racial equity. We advocate, communicate, and collaborate. And so those three priorities are really what we look at as our board and certainly as staff. And then this last year, when I started at OCCA, we had part of our board policies that we would have OCCA values. And so for about 6 years, we did not. And so as I was reading through, getting to know what we were doing, I thought, well, if it says we need to have values, we need to either take that out of our policy and not have values, or we need to get this done. And so it was really, I think, a great way for me to start and getting to know what our colleges value, what our board members value. And we came up with, I think, a pretty comprehensive list. And again, this is the lens through which we look at our work and appreciate. In addition to Andrew being our board president this year, he was the vice chair last year. So he worked through this process with us. And President Scari is also a board member, because our board is made up of all 17 community college presidents and one locally elected board member from each college. And so Shatoya actually is the board representative for Mount Hood Community College. And so that's a great addition. So these are our values. Next slide. And then just quickly, we have an incredible staff, really experienced, confident, passionate individuals who have worked for a long time for community colleges. John Wyckoff is our deputy director, and he's worked for OCCA for 17 years. Prior to OCCA, he came from the Oregon Student Association, and so he has a definite passion for student advocacy. And Karen Smith is our general counsel. She answers all board questions. So if you have anything about board governance or board relationships or board policies or public meeting laws or ethics, Karen is a great resource for that. Katie in our office has been there. Karen's been with us for 23 years. And so that says a lot about our organization. Katie Archambault is our operations director, and she helps with our conference and budget and all good things. She's been with us for 13 years. Casey is our communications director, and then Laura does our staffing. It's okay. You keep me moving, Roxanne. I love it. Let's keep the pace going. Okay, so what did we do last year? These were our board approved legislative priorities. And like your board, we bring the priorities to our board, and our board just approved this upcoming session's priorities this last Friday. But this is what we did last session during the long session. Our priority, as you know and hope you know, that is community college funding. And so we were able to secure 840 million. We'd asked for 920. And by the time we got to the end of the session, we were really grateful for that 840 million and felt very supported compared to a number of state agencies that saw reductions. So while it wasn't exactly what we needed, we were grateful given the challenges and constraints that I think the legislature and the governor's office were facing. Community college capital construction, we were able to secure all of the projects that were up for match. And then this last year, we were able to raise the capital project cap, which is not necessarily beneficial for Mount Hood Community College, but it will help future college priorities. Right now, the cap, or previous to this, the cap was $8 million in matching funds, and now it is $12.4 million in matching funds for the state for capital construction projects. So next time around, future projects will be able to secure that match, which, as you know, every dollar is especially helpful. And again, congratulations on passing your bond. That is fantastic. So we are so proud of all the work that you did. The Oregon Opportunity Grant is a priority for access, and so we were able to secure those dollars. The Benefit Navigators, it was I think just a miss in the governor's budget that was not included, and yet it created a big fight for us to get those dollars put back in. And we were really proud of being able to work with all of our partners in higher education, our universities in particular, to make sure that we got this funding back for student basic needs and our benefit navigators. We were looking for some co-requisite training funding, which we actually were able to secure through some other dollars. And then we had asked for a priority for Adult Reconnect and then pulled that back as we were able to navigate, I think, the lay of the land on funding for the legislature. So keep in mind, these are the priorities that get approved in December, and then we're very nimble and we adjust throughout the session. So I just also wanted to share, how do we advocate? Well, we include our board members, we include community members, and we especially include our students. And we create a number of tools. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at our website, please do. I've got a handout that I'll leave with you. But we do a lot of direct legislative advocacy. We meet a lot in the Capitol so that you don't have to, although I will offer that we do ask our presidents and board members to come down, because that really helps enhance the work. We do that on our CTE days, on our lobby, Community College Day of Action, and certainly we were very involved in the Ways and Means roadshows this last year, and then the Ways and Means budget presentation. This is a picture of a student from Clackamas Community College who came to talk about how community college made a difference. And that's why I loved the testimony on the program of students that are whose lives were changed. And she came and she actually called us that morning and said, I can't come and testify because I don't have any childcare. And so we said, bring your child so that the legislators can see these are our students. And so it was especially compelling and a really wonderful opportunity to showcase our students and our community college story. Next slide, please. And then this last year, as you can imagine, we have really ramped up our federal advocacy efforts. There's a lot happening in Washington, D.C. that is really impacting our colleges. Primarily, we really have just focused on state policies, and we have had to be much more engaged in the federal policies and helping our colleges navigate some of those changes. We, in February, many of you go to Washington, D.C. with us for the National Legislative Summit, and I hope to see many of you there. I think it's going to be especially interesting this year as we're going to have an opportunity to meet with agencies and have some of those conversations too. So more to come on that. We usually have a meeting, a Zoom meeting in January to do a little bit of preparation about how we're going to coordinate those visits and other questions for our colleges. And then last year, for the first time, we created a Leave Behind for our congressional partners, and we'll be doing that same thing this year so that they can see what Oregon's challenges and priorities and opportunities are. And then we have, this last year, we had weekly federal updates as we were really trying to navigate grants that were being changed and policy changes. We've changed that to monthly now, and we'll see if we need to ramp that back up weekly. But so that was an addition that we're pretty proud of this last year. Next slide. And then, as I said, I have a real love and empathy and appreciation for our elected board members. And so we're really focused on board development and making sure that you have the resources, information, and access to tools to help you be effective in your board member roles. Because it's a lot. You have a fiduciary responsibility, you have a legal responsibility, and you have a community responsibility to those who elected you. So we really want to stand with you to provide the kinds of information that you need. And we do that through a board member. We called it training last year, and we've changed it this last year, Andrew and I, to our board governance summit, because we're really focused on governance and making sure that our boards understand those roles. And so we do that in September. And then some of you were able to join us at the conference, which was fantastic, and wanted to it wasn't last year, but last year, President Scari won the Administrator of the Year. And so we were really proud of that. And then this year, it was just exciting to honor Diane McKeel with the Chuck Clemens prestigious award. So it's a great opportunity to get together and hear really best practices that are happening around the state. And then we bring in some national speakers. So that's next slide. And then we also do our legislative summit, and we have monthly lunch and learns. So if you're not on our lunch and learns, please get on those. We are really trying to enhance those opportunities and make it easy. If you can't attend, they're all recorded. So jump in and play them back. The PERS one is especially fascinating if you like to hear about PERS changes. I'm a little policy wonk on that. So next slide. And then really, we are your voice in Salem, and we want you to know that that's really our priority is interfacing with our policymakers, and then our, I think, enhanced partnerships with the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. I spend a lot of time with the executive director of the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. We work through issues. We are really trying to build I think more education about what community colleges do and the differences between community colleges and universities. And so I'm pretty proud of enhancing that relationship, and our presidents are working really hard on that too. And then we work with our organized labor groups and obviously our students, Oregon Business Council, and other education partners. And so if there's ever anything I can answer on those issues, I'm happy to. And if you're hearing things that are happening that we should be at the table, please give us a call, because we want to be partners in that. President Scari's reached out a couple of times and is linking us with some workforce development opportunities and some other partners around the state. So that's very exciting. Next slide. And then we also offer our board policy and procedure program. So we are really proud of that. Karen Smith leads that, and we have 14 colleges that we help ensure that those policies and procedures remain compliant. So every year we look through the federal and state statutes to provide recommended best practice language for you. And then we work really hard to keep our boards communicated on our digest and our, you should have just received an update on what happened at our board and other communications. So next slide. So what's going to happen in the 2026 session? Well, fortunately, it's a shorter session. Unfortunately, we are headed into, I think, some really hard choices for our legislators. The bright news is it's not doom and gloom on the revenue forecast. We just say it's a little gloomy, and we'll see what happens again as we're heading into this session. But we do not anticipate a 5% cut across the board, and so that's helpful. We are prepared for that, though. And so I've got a couple of flyers that I will hand out to you as we kind of just look at some of the messaging that we are now sharing out to legislators and that you can use as talking points also. That we just really feel like a 5% cut, which would be $53 million, would be devastating. And as you know, as board members, it's not 5% across the biennium. It's 5% in the last year of this biennium of money that you have already spent. In addition, it is a shortened payment cycle. So we're going to be missing another payment as we go into that. So we're really working hard to make sure that legislators understand that that's just, we're going to have to hopefully deal with some of this in the 2027 session. And then preserving Oregon Promise. One of the proposals, if they do reduce that funding, would to not admit any new students into the Oregon Promise program, which essentially would end that program. And so it would hold harmless to current students, but then if no new students are coming in, it's going to be really hard for legislators to continue that funding. So we're pointing out how important that is. And then there is a proposal to reduce career pathways programs, which we have seen just incredible opportunities, particularly in our rural communities where these are displaced workers, these are adult learners. See, we just have some great success stories. And so we're really highlighting that with our Future Ready Oregon programs across the state. So just in those kind of that 1 month, we're playing a little bit of defense more than offense. We're not going to bring in some really big policy proposals, obviously, as the state is really grappling with some big challenges. Next slide. And then we also have some, again, short sessions, but we have a few issues that we are monitoring. And if you want to jump onto our, we've got a lunch and learn that's coming up in January, and we'll walk through a few of these in detail. But if you've heard, there's a Oregon Higher Education Coordinating Act. Representative Pam Marsh is bringing that, and it really is a restructuring proposal. So we're watching that. It's pretty ambitious for the short session, but it is kind of a conversation that we expect to continue through this year. So we're certainly at the table on that. There's an Associated Student University of Oregon student fee autonomy proposal, which is really born out of the universities, but it has community colleges have been swept into that. So we're watching, and we have some clarifying language that we're bringing back to legislators on that piece. And then this dual credit instructor parity, we really believe that our instructors are as qualified as university instructors to make some of those decisions. And we're going to be bringing that to the HEC tomorrow, tomorrow, gosh. And hopefully they will repeal that rule, which really creates disparity unnecessarily, in our opinion. We're watching the public meeting laws, the OGEC meal guidance. As you know, there is some interesting language that it really now only impacts our community college boards. So the guidance from OGEC to solve it just still doesn't work for us. So we're anticipating, we have got some legislators who will be bringing some language to clarify that in the session. Workforce Pell, the short-term Workforce Pell is really exciting. And we have a big seat at that table that we have advocated to make sure that we have representation on that with HEC. And that's a big priority. And then again, the Bachelor of Applied Science, we just heard about an incredible, congratulations on the Bachelor of Applied Science success here. We're looking, 5 colleges are looking to add an education program. And why that's important for all of our colleges is it really is a conversation about how HEC is going to approve Bachelor of Applied Science programs statewide. So that is it. I am happy to answer questions. I want you to know that our theme last year and continuing this year is that community colleges work for Oregon. And you're going to see us highlight workforce development, how we help our students get jobs, and how we work for the economy. So thank you for giving me extended time. And I, again, am happy to answer any questions and appreciate the opportunity to serve you.
Thank you, Abby. Are there any questions for Abby, or just inquiry into anything she shared? Annette, the mic. Like the, you. There you go.
It takes the palm, we need palm, not 2 fingers on the picture. I'm just wondering, Abby, as you were showing the concerns that you have and questions about, well, a lot of the programs that you mentioned, like the Oregon Promise, that type of thing. If they cut us, are you having much success, do you think, of getting legislators to understand that when you cut programs that allow people to get better jobs, which earn more money, which then pay more income tax, which is what 70% of the tax revenue in our state is income taxes, are they understanding that they'd be kind of like killing the goose that lays the golden egg?
I hope so, but that certainly is our message. We are the solution to every problem that is facing Oregon. We really believe that community colleges provide the access and opportunities, programs, and linkage to jobs that strengthen communities, that help People get family wage earning jobs. And so those are the one-on-one and also collective conversations. That was our presentation during the Ways and Means Committee last year. And then we are having one-on-one with legislators saying, do you want to grow the economy? Sustain the community colleges. We understand you have challenges, but we are going to be the ones who help you get people into jobs and build, roads and bridges and homes and all of those things. So, but any advice that you have to persuade legislators is welcome. I do think they see that. I would offer that it's just an economically challenging time with lots of demands.
Well, I did hear on OPB on the way here tonight that the Oregon unemployment rate for September is up a full percentage over a year ago, which is not good news.
It's not. And the President's Council has actually we've secured a study to look at workforce gaps regionally. And so we're going to bring that information in the 2027 legislature also for additional investments. And we really, as you can see on the flyer, you got a 2-page, but it's a one-pager for our legislators. And we really talk about the ROI that investing in community colleges brings back to the economy in Oregon. And now is not the time to reduce that funding. And so we really, while there are needs across the state, we feel like we are an investment in the future of Oregon. So thanks for that.
Larry, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick question. Federally speaking, on the DC trip, what agencies predominantly are those meetings? DOE, others?
Primarily it's been the Department of Education. This year you're going to see labor. Because some of those things, so all of the kind of the distributed where we saw education being in one area. So we're really trying to secure those meetings. And fortunately for us at the Association of Community College Trustees helps us link up with those agency folks. And then we have a lot of keynote opportunities where they bring in like subject matter experts to talk about. So we apply for a grant and we think we had a 5-year grant. What's the likelihood of that grant continuing? And really just having some of those conversations. It is, in addition to getting to meet with our congressional leaders, it is a really great opportunity to also connect with board members from other states that are looking at similar policies. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Question, do you know if you have secured a meeting with the Labor Secretary or office adjacent?
So we have not yet. They are working on that. We're hoping, as we know, former Senator Bonham is now back there, and we have some good connections also, as well as the Secretary. So we're waiting for ACCT to kind of do their thing, and then we will secure some of those meetings around that. But the registration is open right now, and then we hope by the second week of January to get those things finalized. And then, as you know, in working with staff, there are things are penciled in, and we really hope that they get Sharpied in by the end of January.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All
Well,
right.
you're very generous. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Abby.
Good to see you, Abby.
Thank you, Annette, for your service to this board and to the state. And I really appreciate your support, especially as I came on in this new role. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Andrew, for your good work.
Thank you, Abby. Appreciate it. All right. Next, we'll move on to a bond update. And is Jennifer, you're online. Hi. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you for letting me join online. I have been feeling a little under the weather and wanted to keep my germs to myself. So I just have a quick update on bond projects, things where we are with lots of different things. First off, we have wrapped up for the year, for the season, our asphalt projects. So some of the repaving, the last one we did was a walkway over by the Visual Arts Building. But we are planning what we're going to do next summer. So we're already thinking ahead to that and where those next prioritized projects are. Our aquatic center project, if you remember, that was shovel ready. We had the enclosure being built. We now have a contractor on site that has made a giant mess over there. Sorry. It does look like a giant mess, but what they're doing now is putting concrete pilings into the ground, and then they're testing it for engineering support to make sure that those pilings are going to be able to hold the weight of the enclosure. So we're still kind of in that engineering and messy construction phase, but once we get that support in place, I think that the rest of the enclosure stuff we'll start seeing some improvements happen pretty quickly. Back to our visual arts complex. I don't know, it's the Visual Arts Village. There are several buildings over there that are very circa 1970s. And one of the buildings is being used as a prototype. So they're going to start doing the building enclosure replacement, which includes roofing and siding. And I'm trying to engage the faculty in picking out colors and things. And that construction will begin right after our holiday break. Campus security. So this, we're coordinating with vendors right now on the lockdown ability. So putting these little things on each door that allow us just to push a button and lock the campus down. That is moving along really well. And then there's still a lot of projects that are have a lot more work and engagement to happen. And we, thanks to the board at our last meeting, you approved our project management consultant. And we had our kickoff meeting with them yesterday, where we really dug into like the details of the projects, our hopes and dreams, like how we wanted to engage people from the oversight committee, the steering committee, faculty and staff that are impacted in the departments, and then how we engage students for feedback across that, and then sort of started talking about timelines and priorities. So we're going to meet bi-weekly with them until we can get some more details in place. And that, I think, really like that's like the official kickoff of like all of the other things that we know we need to start getting moving that weren't shovel ready. So pretty excited to have them on board and have that start moving forward. So happy to take any questions if you've heard any rumors, or like I'm trying to keep everybody updated on what's happening on campus. But really, I think, starting in January, we'll see a lot more.
Thank you, Jennifer. Are there any questions for Jennifer? There were no numbers to ask questions of, Jennifer. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that update. All right. Well, we'll move on then. The next item is the consent agenda, which is listed in the on the agenda. The items we'll be approving, and may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is academic calendar first reading, and I'd like to invite Ina to come up and share that. Good evening.
Good evening. Are you going to bring the academic, or do they have copies of it?
It was in the packet, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the packet, so you
Yeah.
have a copy of it. Oh, that's okay. No, I didn't know, Roxanne. Thank you. So hello, I'm Tina Redd. I'm the Vice President of Instruction. I'm here to present a first read of our academic calendar. Pretty straightforward. The calendar doesn't change much from year to year. The 27-28 calendar, we considered two options because the beginning of winter quarter starts right after the holiday break. And so there's really not even a work day. This year, at least we have one work day before we kick off the quarter. And so we did consider starting the calendar a week later. And the things that we discussed was the workload for the staff in preparing for a new quarter, and also the impact on students and spring break. Because generally I've not lived in Oregon my entire life, and so you might be familiar with the concept that all of Oregon goes on spring break at the same time. And so if we moved the start date for winter quarter back a week so that we had more time on the college's end to prepare, we would be out of alignment on spring break, particularly with our high school partners here in our district. So wanted to make sure that we took that into consideration. And then I think probably the biggest reason that we decided that we as faculty and staff, because the faculty did approve this calendar, that we could be prepared to start right after a college closure, was because by delaying the start of the quarter for an additional week, we could put our students who rely on our wraparound services and their financial aid at risk. And so the calendar that we present to you is a calendar that we think serves students best.
Great.
Any questions?
No question. Thank you so much. All right. We have next another item that was not on the board agenda, but wanted to bring forward, and it's wanted to turn it over to Annette to kick us off.
Well, before I make my remarks, I do want to introduce my husband, Jeff Reardon, there in the back aisle, back row. Probably the person who's the happiest to hear about what I'm about to say. But some of you are aware, most of you are aware by now, that I'm submitting my resignation tonight, effective midnight, December 31st of this year, on our board here. And Andrew will be happy to know that I left the written remarks I had at home. So I just have some short, Andrew, he likes like a 35-minute meeting. But I do want to make a few comments. And first of all, this is like 9 years I've been here, and including the 1 year on the finance committee, 4 years on the OCCA board, including a year as president. And I so appreciate Abby being here because I kind of forgot about all the other committees, right? I served on member services and on the legislative committee for many years, and on the DEI committee with OCCA, and that mission statement. I worked on that mission statement when I was on that board. So that was pretty exciting. And then 18 years on the David Douglas board, and 7 years on the OSBA board, a year as president, and 5 bond measure campaigns. And we won 4 of them, including last May. So that was the best one. But looking back at how many years of public meetings and this volunteer thing, right? 3 years, City of Portland Budget Committee, 4 years on the Lens Urban Renewal Advisory Committee, a year on the East Portland TIF Steering Committee, a couple different sessions on the 122nd Avenue Committee. Nothing ever came of that. And numerous Prosper Portland committees and groups and things, and nonprofits. So it might be that I'm a little public meetinged out, because I'm certainly not leaving because I don't care, because I care deeply about this college and the work done here. Both all the awards in these past 9 years, from what was that first one when you were here, Lisa? We were in New York City and we had the Charles, that was it. Yes, a great picture of you and Tammy and I in Times Square when we were there to accept that award. And for our DEI work, both at the regional and national level. And then some of you were in Tennessee last year with Lisa when receiving the one for the board CEO relationship. Dr. Scari's had a number of awards since we've been here by different organizations and by the state. And that has been really exciting. But in addition to those great awards, all the everyday work that happens here that doesn't get, broadcast in the newspaper or with any awards, but is so important to making our students successful. And that's what's especially wonderful about this place. It is the passion that people have for our students. I know it was true 30 years ago when I was here. Might have been longer than 30, closer to 40 years ago when I was here. And of course, many of you too, as alumni. But we change lives. We help them achieve their dreams, and that is no small thing. And sometimes we just help them have a better ordinary life, and that is no small thing. to be able to have a home, to be able to put food on your table, and to be able to buy that winter coat for your child. And as we know, many of our students didn't have those same things when they were growing up. So it's huge. I'm going to miss these new board members I never really got to work with, but so excited to see what you folks are going to do next. I'm not going anywhere by any means. So I'm very excited about the work the foundation is doing, and Jeff and I will be sponsors of one of the many sponsors of the Spring Foundation Gala. So we will be there. And of course, I'll be bringing in a bottle of wine for the wine wall, a really good bottle. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But we do amazing things here, and it has been a true honor to be a part of it, an absolute privilege. I said, I'm just kind of public meetinged out, but this college isn't going to see me go away. You're just going to see me differently. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Annette. We'll maybe get through the business and then folks open up the floor for folks to share anything. So we're bringing this forward because this is acknowledgement by the board that Annette is resigning from her position as Mount Hood Community College Board Education Zone 4 Director, effective December 31st, 2025. And then according to Board Policy 2110, vacancies of the Board of Education, the board must declare the seat vacant due to the resignation. So we now have to consider two options, and I think you all will recall, maybe except for Mohammed, when we did the vacancy just recently for Dana's seat, that we can appoint someone to the vacant seat and then go through an application process, or we can choose to leave the seat open and vacant until the time of the next election for that seat. So I'll just read through the practical things of each option. Option one is the board would direct the president to promote the position and collect applications prior to the next board meeting, January 2026. Interviews of potential candidates would take place at the January meeting, and the appointment of the new board member would follow at the February 2026 board meeting. And then option two is the board position would be open at the Multnomah County Elections Office on May 2027, which is the first date of the candidate to file for the open position. Candidate filing deadline will be March 27th, March 2027, and the special district election is May 2027. So I'd like to just open it up for discussion for consideration of those two options.
I'm happy to kick it off. I think that we're at a point right now where it's too critical to leave a position open until the next election. I think we should proceed. I'd like to proceed with filling the position, the big shoes that that will be left to fill. But I think that we're in a really critical time, our nation, our community, to have one less leader fighting for them.
Great. Thank you, Will. Larry?
Same.
Okay. Second. Diane?
I agree with Will. That's 2 years is too long for us to go with a vacant seat on this board. So I think we do need to take the option of putting out a call for applications and going through the appointment process.
Okay. Any other comment?
I also agree. I think it also gives us a chance to have a candidate that can potentially run. It makes it easier to have a candidate pool, if you will, that can run instead of an open seat that is unknown to anybody, and then suddenly some people are running for that seat. So, but I do agree. I think having a full board is important regardless of the duration of the vacancy.
Thank you, Mohammed. Well, great. Thank you. And just gonna go through some pleasantries and then we can vote. The Board of Education declares the board vacancy of the Mount Hood Community College Board of Education due to the resignation of a board member. And the board, we are moving forward in consensus with option one. I would now like to entertain a motion to approve the motion of, or excuse me, the option to move forward to fill the resignation via option one.
So move.
Moved by Will,
Second.
second by Larry. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. One other, oh, sorry. Well, so before we move on, I did want to give space for folks to share anything about Annette or just her service. Larry?
I'm new kid on the block, but it's been both a pleasure and an honor to serve with you for this brief moment in time. I can't think of a better or a more fierce advocate for education, whether it be local or post-secondary education. I think the career that you've had in that space as a fighter and advocate speaks for itself. Big shoes to fill, but we're so deeply grateful. Oregon's grateful for the work that you did for students, for the families, and for education in the state. So thank you, Annette.
Thank you, Larry. Will?
Yeah, I would echo what Larry said. It's incredible to see the breadth of experience that you've brought to this journey and the lives that you have impacted. You were talking and you mentioned that we are changing lives every day. This college is changing lives and our educational system is changing lives. And I thought back to when I was the student that the life was being changed by nature of being part of the Mount Hood community. And so in our cultural ways, hands up to you. It's many things. It's a blessing. It's an honor to serve alongside you. And I also have to mention, you are everywhere. You are everywhere. And I think that is just a beautiful testament to who you are and the heart for service that you have. So thank you, Annette. Yeah.
Thank you, Will.
I have to confess, I always feel a bit intimidated and humbled because of all of the breadth of experience that you bring to the table. And I just know I'm going to miss that terribly. It's just, your perspectives are so thoughtful, relevant, and as Will says, you're everywhere and you bring all of that to this table, which has just been such a blessing for us. So I'll miss you. I will.
Hey, Emerge sister. and also neighbor. I am sitting in the seat because of you. You're the one who did hey, there's a seat open at Mount Hood Community College. And I was like, thank you. I've been training to be on that board. And you have been an amazing support system for me when it comes to my kid. Always offering your home. Your daughters are amazing. And a mentor throughout this process as well. And I'm determined to go to not as many, but close to events. And I am grateful for a lot of the doors that you opened up for me, like at Tax Increment Finance, and providing that expertise and wisdom throughout. So make sure your number still works. because I will definitely still call or text and check in on you as well.
So Annette was the first person that I spoke with when I was considering joining the board. And I think since that time, what struck me on that first call was she's very, very direct and will tell you what she's thinking. And so I've always appreciated and admired just your ability to be a mover of things and get things done. And really admire you and Jeff and your dedication to service, and really giving of your full selves in all the ways for the good of everyone. That's always been inspiring to me and meaningful to see, like, servant leadership in action. So thank you for that, just as like an example for me and those of us who watch you to strive to be like. And then Annette, I served in a role at PGE that was a role that Annette served in for many, many years. And so she was always, during my time in that role, she was always very supportive and understanding when I would complain to her about the dynamics of that job and how frustrating certain things could be. And I believe also you were an advocate for helping maybe to grease the skids for me to get that role too. So I appreciate that. But Diane McKeel leaving was like a motherly figure for me. And Annette was kind of, I had older sisters growing up. And so Annette's felt like that older sister role for me in many ways. And so I will miss that, and just being able to both learn from you and share the experience of this work, because it's been very meaningful for me to serve with you on this board. So thank you. All
Mohammed
right.
has his hand up.
Mohammed.
Thanks, Andrew. Beautiful things have been said, but and then I wanted to share my comments. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person to say these comments to you and wish you the best, but I'm overseas and I'm fighting a nasty flu, but I also had to get up at 4 a.m. I want to make sure to be at this meeting so I can wish you all well and thank you for everything you've done. Your reputation and hard work I've known since my previous roles in college and higher ed, and every interaction I've had with you had been really thoughtful and amazing. And I was looking forward to working with you. And I, being so new, I wish you all the best, and I hope that you can still stay in touch and would love to learn more from you and get perspective from your experience on the board. So thank you for everything and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mohammed. All right, you could still say more at your reports about Annette too. All right. One last item that also was on the agenda that's been a little bit late, and I was able to connect with most of you today on the phone. For the last couple of years, I've been considering running for the ACCT board, and in order to do that, there's a requirement to submit your application prior to early January. And also in that packet, similar to what we approved for Shatoya last month for the committee work, is a board letter or a letter from the college in support of that nomination. And I have been able to kind of step back and evaluate what obligations I have and then what will be rolling off after I'm done with the OCCA presidency. And so the process is that they vote next fall during the Leadership Congress for ACCT. And I have served on 4 years of committees, 2 years with the Finance Committee and 2 years with the Public Policy and Advocacy Committee, and then also served on the Regional Nominating Committee for ACCT. And so I would like to be able to get the board's support to be able to put my application in to run for the board of directors at ACCT for this which would be held in the Leadership Congress in next October. So I am requesting a motion to direct the college to draft a letter of support for that process.
So moved. Um,
Second.
And I just want to say, Andrew, comments, can I? You are solid. You show up, you do the work. What I think of what you've done here on this board and for our bond measure, I mean, said you're solid, reliable, and hardworking. And this board has always been able to count on you, and I'm sure OSCCA has also. So I'm really glad that you are decided to run for the ACCT board.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So I just finished really 6 years on the ACCT board, and I really enjoyed it so much. And I've been kind of twisting Andrew's arm because he served on so many committees at ACCT, and I do, you know, I know that he's ready. He's ready for this level, and I'm, you know, I was the only representative on the board from Oregon, and nobody could remember the last time. They were sure there was somebody else from Oregon who was on the board of directors, but they couldn't remember who. And so you know, I really want someone to represent our state. And so, you know, I'm fully supportive, Andrew.
Thank you, Diane. Well, if there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
One abstention. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see. Next, we'll move to board member and committee liaison reports, and going to review the January regular session. And I did want to make a reminder what our work session discussion was about the moving of time, correct, Roxanne, to 6 p.m. start time for our regular board meetings. So just be aware of that.
I'm jumping in here a second. Typically our board meetings are on the third Wednesday of the month. We realized when we published the calendar, it was on the second Wednesday of January. And so, question for the board, if we were moving it back to the third Wednesday, which is our regular time, that would also give us another week to solicit applications. But I'm also mindful, I didn't know if that worked with people's calendars, and so can we, okay.
Is there any calendar issues for making that change?
Well,
moving it
second Wednesdays will not work for me. It conflicts with another.
So moving it would be helpful for you to the third.
the 21st, the third Wednesday works?
Yes, please.
Okay. Anyone else have a conflict? Mohammed, are you fine on your end?
Yeah, I was just looking now. It should be fine. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, and apologies for that.
Do you want to scroll through the agenda, Roxanne? And so we'll have the action item from tonight's meeting with the second reading on the calendar, the academic calendar. And then I think we'll start to kick off the financial process for with Jennifer for budget, or excuse me, audit. Sorry.
We will add this there, 4 days.
Got it. Is there any other items other than the addition of the vacancy and interviews? Is there any other items that folks have thoughts on adding? And if not, we can move on to the next item, or Or you can get any additions to us via email. Okay, good. Oh, give it to you. No. Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and move on to the board member reports and liaison reports. And Shatoya, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I was looking for the name of the budget conversation through OCCA. I can't think of it, but I attended that. And I attended the OCCA board meeting, and I attended the Oregon Business Plan Summit on Monday. And that's it for me. Oh, and I attended the tax increment finance meeting last night.
Great. Thank you. Diane, would you like to share anything?
I attended the Oregon Business Plan Leadership Summit as well, which was really interesting. We were talked out a lot, but it was, the theme was Oregon's at a crossroads. And there was a lot of discussion about, the challenges that we're facing, and but not a whole lot of tangible plans to move us in the right direction. So it's, but they throw out a challenge to all of us. I have to confess that the one area that really interested me the most, because I'm an educator, is the fact that we've been investing more and more in K-12 education over the years, but have not seen the results. And I mean, I knew these numbers before, but I'm still shocked when I hear them that we're 43rd in the nation on reading scores, and we're 48th in math. That's just pitiful. I know, so I decided that after that, I was going to go to, they had breakout sessions. So I went to the breakout session on education because I wanted to know what are the things that they're looking at that, have some relationship. Well, clearly one of them is attendance. So, attendance went wacko in COVID times, and then it hasn't come back. I mean, the attendance rate is not good. And the attendance rate for kindergarten is the worst. And those are such critical years. I mean, children are not going to learn unless they're there, unless they're in the classroom. So, so what do we do? I was hearing a lot of talk about, and you have to realize that I was a professor. I taught teachers how to teach kids who speak multiple languages, particularly reading. So, it's like one of those things. This year, it's phonics. Next year, it's whole language approach. Then it's a blend. There's no magic bullet. There just isn't. We just have to pay attention, and we've got to get kids back in the classroom. Anyway, so that was my little diatribe about what I learned at the leadership summit. So, and it impacts us as well, because if those kids are not, if they're dropping out or if they're being homeschooled, which too many times means they're not getting anything at all, they're not going to be ready for the job market. They're not going to be ready to go to a four-year institution. And to my dismay, four-year institutions were emphasized a lot in this session. And they won't be ready for us either, And so we wind up having to, pick up the pieces and get those young people workforce trained. So I think that challenge is it's going to be tough, and I'm not sure where we're going to go from there. So anyway, that's my diatribe. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Annette.
Yeah, not much this time. I attended the Gresham Chambers Holiday Fundraiser for Snowcap in our father's house last Friday. And I think for the first time that I ever remember, the college actually got an award for their centerpiece. It was like so far above any of the past centerpieces. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was like what was it? The theme was Home Alone and not Home Alone and Gresham, whatever it was, Home Alone and Gresham. And so it was based on the Home Alone movies. It was the Kevin's favorite, the Kevin's whatever award that we received. And it was very cute with a Barney on the very top of it. And then this morning was the East Portland Chamber holiday breakfast. And whenever I get the chance, of course, when I introduce myself, I mention our successful bond measure in May and thanking the chamber for their support of that and the voters. And once again, resounding applause that our bond measure has passed. And that is really it. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Will.
Happy holidays. I have nothing to report this time.
Thank you. Mohammed.
Thank you. Yeah, I continue to onboard through the various leaders at the college. I had a chance to meet with Dr. Hamlin just right before I left for my overseas trip to learn about student development. Like I said, and I appreciate the opportunity to still attend the meetings virtually. I would love to be in person, obviously, but this is our annual trip abroad to visit family. And so I appreciate the fact that we have the ability to still attend and participate as much as we can, despite the time difference as well. So that's all I have to report. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you for joining us this evening. Appreciate it. Larry.
Less report, more reflection. I was incredibly humbled by the testimony I think we received a while back in regards to Barney's Pantry and students. And I'm wondering and thinking about what opportunities we have to continue to support students in light of future things that may happen. And also I'm curious as difficult it is to learn in the settings that we are in right now and the environment that we're in. And then the responsibility on our educators to then teach in that setting. So I'm more mindful and thoughtful about how we're going to operate into the future and what we're going to do as an institution to continue to support that. Lisa, thank you for your leadership in that aspect, in that space. But the work that this board does impacts so many. And I'm incredibly grateful to be here, but also very humble about what our responsibility is in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Let's see. I think for my report, I attended the business plan summit also. I think my key takeaways was taxes are too high. Local taxes are too high, which they luckily didn't call out our bond, but also that there's always a aspect of that summit to beat up on Portland. And so I think that's just the theme. Yeah. It's the theme, but also share, I think Diane's comments of like, there didn't really feel like there was a clear vision or path or recommendation forward. So anyhow, it ends up feeling more like an opportunity to network and chat with old colleagues. And then I also attended the board meeting this past Friday for OCCA and just want to share a couple takeaways of that. We had a little bit of board member development opportunities, as Abby and I have been thinking about this year, about how do we integrate uplifting and increasing board member knowledge. And so we had a great presentation by the Northwest Commission accrediting body for the community colleges and universities. The executive director of that organization came and shared kind of best practices of meeting process and governance. And so just a nice, simple presentation about reminders about how we operate as a unit and a board and best practices on running meetings. And then we also, one of my pet peeves this year has been to create efficiencies within the OCCA structure and operations and governance. And so Abby has been very in lockstep with that with me, and thankfully. And so we've been able to bring forward some board policy changes that were passed in a second reading also. So really appreciate the work of Abby and her staff to do that work. Super helpful. I think just in thinking about longer term, the process and engagement of the board and how we operate together. And then we also ratified and passed the legislative priorities that Abby shared earlier. And then we did a conference recap. And, I think we're forever interested in how to develop that conference schedule that we don't lose so many folks on the last day. So it was a update to this conference schedule for this year, and I think we had a little bit better participation. So that was good to see, and we discussed some other positive aspects and just other opportunities for growth. Then we got a really neat presentation by someone from the Oregon Department of Justice and collaboration of what OCCA is doing through general counsel there, and working to collaborate and think about just longer term, both federal issues and state issues. And so that was a neat presentation by that Department of Justice attorney. And I don't know if there was like a clear takeaway, but just need to see the work and collaboration between the organization and the Department of Justice. Just knowing that exists, and we can go to Karen for anything, and she has that link to the Justice Department. And then we got a couple other just practical updates on just OCCA budget development and processes that way, or excuse me, for the HEC. So thank you for that. And then I think those are probably, I've attended some other committee work, but I don't want to bore anyone. So thank you. Okay, next we'll move to closing reports from our advisory representatives, and I'd like to please remind the representatives to keep your comments to policy and program matters only. And thank you. We look forward to your updates. Jeffrey Erickson, would you like to join us?
Good evening, Board of Education members. As we wrap up this term, ASMHCC has worked hard to the end to ensure that students are feeling welcome and supported on campus. On November 11th, we collaborated with the MDRC to host a Trans Day of Remembrance event. This gave lots of students that are a part of the trans and LGBTQIA+ community recognition and acknowledgement for the struggles and hardships they have faced throughout their journey. On November 24th, we gave out 158 turkeys to students who needed a turkey at Barney's Pantry. 69 of those turkeys were donated by the Department of Student Life and Engagement. 89 of those turkeys were donated by staff, faculty, and community members around campus. On November 25th, we held a Super Smash Bros. Tournament in the Student Union. We had about 20 people enter the tournament and a big crowd of people behind them, watching and enjoying some snacks and refreshments. This is the first event we've had involving our new Nintendo Switch, and we're hoping to have more events with it. On December 3rd, we hosted a de-stress event in the Student Union. We had a record number of 341 students attend this event. ASMHCC collaborated with the music department and the LGBTQ+ club to host this amazing event. ASMHCC served waffles, eggs, bacon, and fruit to students. The music department played a variety of different music, including a saxophone quartet, piano ensemble, and brass quintet. They brought the warmth of the holiday season and comfort to students that were feeling stressed as they prepare for their finals. The LGBTQ+ club brought board games and crafts to help students take a break from preparing for their finals and just relax. Last month, I shared with you all our goals for the year, and I want to take a moment and share about our progress over this term. ASMHCC team members have been having meetings with different individuals and departments that are involved in the bond project, and we've been able to learn a lot from these people and inform students on what's happening with the bond and what changes some students might see on campus. We're hoping to hold an event next term that brings these departments and individuals to the students to give some details, timelines, and progress of projects that are going on surrounding the bond. And on our other goal, we've been tracking our student engagement through event evaluations and comparing the 2025 fall term to the 2024 fall term. We have had a 30% increase in student engagement with events on campus. All the events that clubs and organizations and ASMEC has held, we've had about 3,700 students attend this year. In comparison to last fall, we had about 2,800 students attend these events. So yeah,
Awesome.
I look forward to sharing our progress in our future progress in the winter. And as always, thank you guys for your continued support of ASMHCC, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
The next time you have a Smash Bros tournament, Will and I are expecting an invite.
Yeah.
Unless you guys.
Can my son join you? Thank you, Jeffrey. I always appreciate your year-over-year changes in the data. It's cool. Thank you. It's helpful. Let's see. Sarah Williams, would you like to join us for the full-time faculty report?
As always, thank you for your time. I decided this month that I should try to figure out what else I could bring besides just like, this is what happens in my experience with the faculty and supporting the students. And so I asked my faculty if they could share some of their recent successes so that you could get a little vignette of who our faculty are. So hopefully people will keep answering that question as the months go on. We'll see. But I have 3 little vignettes for you as well as a couple of comments. So Melly Hawk is a faculty member in physical therapy assistant program. Both she and her colleague Christine Sicione are on-call clinicians in their fields to maintain their skills and stay current. Christine works at Kaiser and Melly works in a skilled nursing facility. Melly is also working on an endowed scholarship fund for physical therapy students and a fund for all health professions faculty to support students through our foundation. Edie Overturf in visual arts is the president of the Rocky Mountain Printmaking Alliance. And recently, some of her work was purchased by the Bancroft Library at University of California, Berkeley, the Stanford University Art Library, and the Maryland Institute of Art and Design Collection. Petra LeBaron Botts, our health and physical education instructor, is a board member of the Mazamas Club, a climb leader and mountaineering instructor for the Mazamas, board president of Portland Mountain Rescue, and is currently rebuilding the EMT program here at MHCC. So little pictures. I wanted to thank the board for your inquiry around the complexity of the statistics that measure our success last week. As an amateur data scientist, I often feel that the questions asked in data are ill-informed, and that people in general just don't have the patience or the attention span to understand the issues. And you went beyond that. I found your conversation thoughtful, and your willingness to learn is worthy of respect. So thank you for that. And thank you to Dr. Scari for providing the information that let you think beyond. And then the other thing that I heard last week from you was an interest in a little bit more information about our programs. I have not had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Scari since your meeting last week. We meet on Friday. And so I intend to speak with her about how we can participate in responding to your interest in that program information. We have many programs that are excited for the opportunity to get to talk with you. We have been organizing the coming back in public input, sort of like you had tonight. But the idea that perhaps we could do something more than that is exciting. So faculty are excited to engage with you. So thank you for your time and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's see. Next up is CA report. And is there someone presenting for Corey? Because I don't see Corey in the room. No? Okay. And then next is part-time faculty. And Marilyn, I see you're online.
You bet. Been enjoying the meeting and just chilling at my home. So for those of you who I haven't met in person, I want to let you know that I'm Marilyn Pitts. I am the PFTA president, and I have been teaching in the Adult Basic Skills program at Mount Hood since I think it was 90. Might have been 91. Oh, no, it was 91. I'm going to correct myself. I don't know if this was mentioned recently at any meeting, but I learned recently that from our dean, Kelly Keith, that our Adult Basic Skills division is being renamed, and we are now going to be the College and Career Foundations division. And you may look at that and go, I don't exactly know what that means, but I was listening, Diane, when you were talking about concerns about kindergarten children being missing out on building some of their skills. And again, for people's benefit who don't know me, fall term, I've been teaching a basic math skills class. And so that's why I haven't been able to attend the board meeting. I'll just briefly say at the beginning, and some of you have heard this before, so please, feel free to poke your ears closed if you want. But at the beginning of each of my classes, I give a skills check. That's what I refer to it as. It's basically a pre-test on the skills that are going to be covered in the class. And then at the very end, I give the same exact skills check. And it's wonderful to see the students' improvement. The curriculum I teach starts with basic add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And I literally, at the start of fall term, had one student who got 0 right out of 25 questions. And thankfully, he definitely did improve by the end. And the cool thing is he felt good about his improvement. He understood, he could have turned in more assignments. He could have done a better job. He could have improved more. But from my perspective, that's part of his process in figuring out how to be a successful student. So I'm sharing this because, for one, I wanted to let you all know about the name change in case you hadn't heard of it, but also that I think we in the community colleges are also great about helping people fill those gaps that they have from other educational situations they've been in. And I was debating about whether to share this next part, but what the heck, I tend to be a sharer. I always have my students evaluate the class at the end, and I don't remember exactly what the student said, and they're all anonymous, but I think it was a she, but I'm not 100% sure. But she basically said that I wanted them to succeed. And I love the fact that they understand that I want them to succeed. And this math class, hey y'all, starts at 5:10 and it goes to 9 p.m. That's 4 hours of math. It's a wonderful challenge and I've enjoyed it. And I'm just pointing out that this new division that I belong to, College and Career Foundations, we're doing excellent work to help fill in the gaps. So enough about that department and the kudos. I also want to, I will not even attempt to even provide the same quality of comments about Annette that you have heard from others, but I do want to thank you for your lengthy service to Mount Hood Community College, as well as the community around us. Very much appreciate it. And also, I want to thank everyone else on the board for their service. We all know it's voluntary, and we all know that it's important. So I just want to pass along a quick pat on the back for everybody. Okay, that's what I have.
Thank you, Marilyn. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Next up is the executive leadership reports. Their monthly division reports are included in the board packet, and then we'd like to also provide them an opportunity to share any updates verbally with us. John, do you have any updates?
So within the report, you're going to see some Barney's Pantry numbers, but I did want to go over because the question was asked about change from last year to this year where the government shut down. So I did have some numbers, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these numbers as well too. So we want to break them down demographically as well. But just a comparator, so I'm going to go September, October, November last year to this year. So September last year, 508 students served, compared to 468, so it was down a little bit for September. By the time we got into shutdown season last year, 655 for October. We were at 956, so a 36% increase in October. And then November last year was 883. We just closed out November at 1,201. Now, 1,201 is larger than any month that we've ever experienced with our pantry. So our largest number last year was 1,185. So November over November was a 46% increase. We'll get numbers for December, and we know that there's a bit of a backlog with the SNAP benefits, and there's been some other impacts as well too for benefits and other support services for students as well too. But I did want to share that. And then also wanted to say, Annette, thank you for your service. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, going to all the graduations with you and events with you as well too. So you'll be dearly missed, but I will see you at the auction as well too. Yeah. Excellent. Any questions on the Barney's Pantry numbers? Yeah. Okay.
The mic.
I had mine on. Well, it was already on.
You mentioned in your report, and you have a lot of numbers in here, but the number of students in the parent group, you said third consecutive term. How many students are participating in the parent group?
Let me look on here. I'm going to need to get numbers from Sydney on that as to what our total numbers are. Do you want all of the terms, or do you want a term by term?
Like, what if the numbers are, you count as normal participants? So it's like, yeah, we usually have 30 people here, or there's 30 different students come, but each meeting is usually 10 to 15 because, hey, they're going to school and their parents. So just general numbers like that.
Let me follow up with Sydney, and then we'll get that to you before December 31st at 11:59 p.m. So we'll send that to Roxanne.
Sounds going to make me turn it in tonight or not. I do want to comment, your numbers sound very on track with what Snowcap was reporting at the Gresham Chamber of Commerce luncheon last Saturday. I think it was like this summer, they hit a new high of 14,000 households. And then in October of this year, 17,000 households, which, yeah, consistently higher and higher numbers of people in need.
No. I mean, just looking year over year for us. So 23-24, we served 6,288 students. Last year, 9,152. And so we're already almost to 3,600 so far for this year. So I think we're going to exceed probably 11,000 students for the year.
A lot of hungry people.
Yeah, absolutely is. So, excellent. Any other questions?
Thank you, John. Tina, do you have any additions for instruction?
Close the loop on a few things that were brought to the table today, if that's okay. Thank you.
It was on. There you go.
Turned it on.
Turned it off.
It's okay, John. I know how you are. First, I wanted to address Marilyn's comment about the renaming of adult basic education to college and career foundations. That is a part of our effort to implement guided pathways here at the college, and the title better captures the work that's done in that unit. I also wanted to acknowledge and appreciate our faculty and the members of our funeral services professions who showed up here tonight to advocate for their program, and to let the board know that there is a process for new positions, and that position is in the queue and will be reviewed by the Hiring Priorities Committee first, which is chaired by Sarah and I, and is a committee made up of faculty and administrators. And then finally, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Annette, for being warm and welcoming in my first year here last year. I feel that you are just such an asset to the college, and I'm glad that you'll be moving from fiscal hawk to party planner. That's what I hope. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate your guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Jennifer Bomer, do you have any additions for advancement?
Hi there. I have nothing to add, but just also want to add my appreciation for Annette and Jeff and your ongoing support for the MHCC Foundation. We will not let you get far.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer Demit, do you have any updates?
I don't have any updates. I also just want, now that I feel like we've all threatened Annette, like with like we're losing a fiscal hawk, so somebody else is going to have to step up, and we're not going to let her get far away. But I do just want to express my appreciation. I've worked with you for a long time, particularly the work that you've done for like the Portland side of our district. I feel like I'm just going back through looking at the work that you've done with the East Portland Action Plan, and remember the Gateway project that never actually came to fruition. And I know you've just been a real fierce advocate for that East Portland part of our district that a lot of people forget about or assume is part of PCC. So I do really want to thank you for your service, and look forward to continuing to work with you through other avenues. So thank you.
Maybe she could be on the bond oversight committee at some point. Yeah. I don't know. Just a thought. Thank you, Jennifer. Next is President's Report.
Thank you. So one of the things I heard at the last study session regarded to things you wanted to hear more about and incorporate. And one of the specific topics was what we're doing around equity. And I was reflecting on thinking that we've kind of backed away from kind of including updates on things. And so I wanted to bring that back and talk a little bit about what the college is currently doing in addressing this work. And specifically, I want to talk about President's Cabinet. You remember years ago, the board went through the Equity Leadership Series, as did the cabinet. We then moved into a phase around shared equity leadership and talking about how does it not rest in one department, but how do we incorporate it across campus. Tracy left, and then we had the good fortune of Rashida joining us. And she's brought some new ideas and also some new skill sets that are really an asset to us right now. And specifically, one is around cultural competence and ultimately, how are we better serving our students? And there is a tool called the Intercultural Development Inventory, or the IDI. And Rashida happens to be a qualified administrator of that assessment and can lead us through that work. And so far, President's Cabinet has completed the assessment. And today, we went through kind of the preliminary, what does this assessment mean? Specifically, how it can build our cultural competence, not only as individuals, but also as a group. And one of the interests we have as President's Cabinet is where are we? Where are our opportunities, and how do we then as a group come up with some real tangible goals to moving toward whatever level we're at to the next level. So excited about that work. We've just started. She has our results, and we'll be meeting with each of us individually to talk about where we individually are, but then also as a group where we are and how we can move forward. So I will keep you posted on what those outcomes and those goals are that we develop for ourselves. And excited to see how this work might expand into other areas. So excited about that. I'm not going to talk about the business summit, but I will mention I was at the governor's press conference last Tuesday around the announcement around economic development. I'm happy that this is being discussed. And I'm very hopeful that the Prosperity Council will come up with a roadmap for us, because I will say, as a community college, one of the biggest challenges is we are service providers and we help build that future for the state through the workforce development. But when it's not really clear on what our North Stars are, it's hard to build programs because those take time. So hoping out of this work, we get better clarity around some of the directions. Hope that there's some funding that can spur on that growth, but ultimately how we're developing a stronger workforce for Oregon. On the service side, I would like to invite all of you to join us for the MLK Day of Service on January 19th. And I will say MHCC's Day of Service. So we partnered again with SNOCAP, and we've got 2 opportunities this year. So folks can join us from 10 until noon at their clothing bank site. And we'll get those. Okay, we'll get those specific addresses sent out. But then also from noon until 2, we can work at the main pantry area. And so I would like to extend the offer. We're going to have students, faculty, staff, whoever wants to join us. It was a lot of fun last year and it didn't rain. I was actually outside doing some work, but that's, there's both inside and outside work. And then lastly, Annette. So I'm going to say something a little different from what you've heard, but I would echo all of that. But I want to thank you for your leadership as a board member and for what you've done for this board. Being a board member, you have your own thoughts and ideas, but it's also a not a skill set that makes it sound really technical, but it's the ability to work with your colleagues and move ideas forward is critically important, both to their success, but also in how effective the board can be. One of the things about making the board better, your policy on no surprises. And I remember in the early years, yes, you're laughing. You were quite adamant about, right? We have an agreement that there's no surprises. And so things need to come forward. And so thank you for having that. And I need another person who can help us stay on track with that.
Never blindside the president or the board chair. Never.
But yeah. We had some good times. But thank you for that. And ultimately, thank you for being a true partner for me, wise counsel, and just a sounding board. So I look forward to interacting with you as no longer a board member, because that means we can do stuff. No, that sounded really
Yes, I know. We can have dinner.
Take you out to dinner and not worry about how much is being spent. Ethics.
Well, I want to comment. I remember when you and Steve first got here and we had the fires. Sandy, and you went to what, a level 2? I think you were in that level and you didn't really know anybody here. And I'm really glad you didn't have to come and use my driveway, but we did. It was also during COVID and you had pets. And I remember that conversation because I was thinking, well, they don't know anybody and we have this big driveway and they might have to evacuate. But I hope you knew from that point on that I was someone that you could work with, because I was willing to give you my driveway and the bathroom basement during COVID. Bathroom. Yeah, during COVID. But when you came here, it was like such a huge time of change in your life between a new job and a move, and you just got married. So it's been wonderful to see you grow in this job. and become a really outstanding president and I hope a friend. So thank you. It's been a good time.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. All right, just a quick reminder about the flyer at our seats for just dates to be aware of. And then again, next month's regular meeting will be at 6 p.m. instead of 6:30, and that change will maintain going forward. On the 21st of January. Yeah, 21st of January. So with that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Okay, I get a picture, guys.